Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Giangelo's here on 224 in Boardman for the South Range Raiders show. And I'll tell you what, it's been an interesting night. Already. We've brought up some key players. And listen, there's a lot of people that have had great weeks this week, but I'm not sure in one household that one family has had it better than the Starkeys this week. Give it up for the Starkeys. All right, so let's break it down. Melissa Starkey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, Melissa.
Thanks, TJ.
All right, so OAC Wrestler of the Week, Jake Starkey. Yeah, and he's here. He's signing autographs for $15 over there. We have Luke Starkey, who Luke does exactly what Luke does. 4 sacks plus a bunch of tackles, bunch of extra points. Does what he does, right? And then the youngest, the baby boy, a scoop and score, first varsity touchdown. The Starkeys have had the best week ever, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And we had to commemorate that. We tried to get Jeff. He ran from it. He wanted nothing to do with this. But he sends the what I like to say, the face of the family, Melissa Starkey, being mom, okay, to boys like that. We've seen the gold rush that is your championship cabinet, all the rings. To have those championships, to have that expectation, to be mom, because Mama Bear always knows best, and especially in football, it's tough sometimes. What has it been like? What has this ride been like for you?
It's been pretty amazing, quite honestly. When Jeff and I were having kids, and we were like, oh, we have boys, girls, and I've been an athlete. I've been around girls my entire life as an athlete. But in my family, I'm the only girl on one side. So I'm used to being around boys. I'm used to having the tough love between my brothers, my cousins. But then to be blessed with 3 boys that I can enjoy this ride with. The toughest part for me has not been having that softball player in my house, but I have that every year I coach, which has been great. But my kids have really brought some special moments to my life. Things that we're very fortunate we've had the experience to be a part of and, experience it together. It's been pretty awesome. And I honestly, I treasure every moment that I, have to go watch them play and be a part of it and have conversations when they come home from practice. And, Drew will come home and tell me everything. And Luke, it's like pulling teeth to get things out.
No.
But when he wants to tell me something, it's been pretty great. We were able to have those conversations and, I sit back and I just really enjoy the time and, really it's very special.
This season has been special. You've gone through championship seasons. It was Jake's senior year when we won the state championship. There's a lot of feelings, right, that are the same this year. A lot of people expecting a long ride. You, Jeff, have been through that. You've been the senior parents in that category. I mean, everybody's kind of looking to you for oh my gosh, what do we do? What are the expectations? How do we, I don't want to say how do we act, but how do you compose yourself on a run like this?
I honestly, I really don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's you go week to week and, in our house, the expectation is we're going to win every week, so we don't play any week any different than the last. You get ready, you prepare, you focus on, the team that's next and, it's hey, we're winning. And then after that, who's next week and who's after that? No moment's too big, and then we keep it all nice and level. That's always our goal.
I think one of the biggest things that I always take away from you is you're never questioning coaching. You're never questioning, because I think when you're married to a coach, you get it. Because
I
coaches
question things, trust me. I just do it quietly.
There's honesty.
There's a time and a place, I think. So.
But when you're married to one of the coaches in the house, talk about the challenges, I guess, of what you saw compared to what either actually happened or what was seen from the coach's lens.
Okay, I think that it helps that Jeff and I have we've both coached for as long as we've ever been together. We started out coaching. He was a football coach. I coached softball, basketball, volleyball, you name it. So there's this understanding between us that we can talk about things. I can ask questions. He asks me things, and it stays within our household. I don't go tell people what he tells me, and we don't share things beyond that. we've always been a part of each other's coaching in our teams, and there's a pretty special bond there for him and I, knowing that I'm pretty privy to some information with things, but he trusts me to tell me stuff, and I question things. Yeah, it depends on who's around and when I know I can get away with. But I think in the big scheme of things, like, I understand what it takes to be a coach, and I've been with him for 20 plus years now, and I know the time and the work and all the efforts that they put into coaching. So it's like, who am I to question what they do? I'm just a mom watching right now.
I mean, you saw, from a wife's standpoint, you saw the championships that Jeff brought in as a coach, and then you guys made a move ultimately to South Range. Why was South Range, and why did South Range stand out to you at that moment?
So, I mean, that's an easy answer for me. A couple years ago, before we moved here, Jeff and I sat down, and we had been in St. Henry for 10 years. Boys were all born out there. Jeff had 2 state titles as a coach, and he said, we want to get closer to family. He was done coaching, and he said, let's kind of do some research. We want something, community, a school, the expectations that St. Henry had. And when we sat down and we kind of put it all on paper, there were a few local schools that came close, but South Range was almost identical to, the expectations and things that we wanted our kids to have in an experience, whether it be school, whether it be community, whether it be sports, all of that. And this has been the best decision that we have made as parents. We are so proud to be here, so happy to be a part of this community. Everyone has welcomed us with open arms, and it's been awesome. I never thought my kids would get to experience some of the things that they have, and you don't get this everywhere.
No.
So
when you sit back as mom on weeks like this, how do you break it down in your own mind? Like the success that your boys had just this week, because I heard it over there from Jeff. He's like, Jake's over there, boasting a little bit, and Jeff says, no, it's outhouse to the penthouse and back to the outhouse. So, I mean, how do you keep the humility in their humble hearts?
It's hard, because I'm not a humble person. I'm not gonna lie. But I have to keep I have to keep it in check, because I know that if I let it get too big and let them think that it gets too big, that we start focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Just a story. Jake called me last week before this, and we talked about some things, and it was hard because he was going through some tough stuff before just wrestling is hard,
Mm-hmm.
I try and play mom, but at the same time, I want him to know, Jake, your success in life is not based upon wins and losses. Your hard work, your things that you do out there, that's what's important. So I have a tendency to, and Jeff will tell you, when it's just me and him, I say all the things that he never wants the boys to hear. But when the boys are around, I'll give them a high five, love you, that was awesome. I know Luke hears me every Friday night, whether he wants to admit it or
Luke,
not.
everybody hears you Friday night.
So it's tough, because Jeff and I we have a lot of the same, philosophies and approaches, but we are so totally different as coaches and as athletes. So it's fun trying to keep it level.
We just talked to Nate about some of the challenges, that he sees in his family as his wife has with coaching. And I think every coach's wife goes through those challenges. For you as an early coach's wife, and now as a coach's wife that's a veteran, mm-hmm. what has been the biggest challenge, and what has gotten easier for you?
I think when I was younger, it was just learning how to navigate being a new mom, being new parents, being newlyweds. We got married on a Saturday, and on Sunday we moved across the state the next day. I didn't get a honeymoon. My honeymoon was moving so that Jeff could start coaching.
It's a great honeymoon, Jeff.
Yeah.
Great honeymoon.
But so when I was younger, again, it was just figuring things out. But then I think as you get older and you appreciate all of the experience that sports, and especially when you're in successful, situations, it just makes it a lot easier and so much easier to work together and cooperate. Jeff lets me do all the same things too. So I got asked a question before we moved back home when we were both done and we were coming back to the area, and someone said, well, as a coach's wife, I go, wait a second. I go, he's a coach's husband, because at that point I was coaching multiple sports. So it's just worked out well for us.
Is it hard to separate coach and mom sometimes? You know, from the standpoint of, like, you know what Jeff is thinking, you know what he's trying to do, you know what the entire staff, you know what a coach is thinking.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes to step back. I think just as a parent in general, it's hard sometimes, like Nate said, to not want to coach your kid and try and help them fix things or say, hey, I saw this or I saw that. You know, that's not what they want to hear. You know, I've coached Drew the most out of all three of the boys. And I think finally, like about a year ago, he's like, Mom, I'm done. It's good. I'm okay. Like, you don't have to tell me everything. I'm like, okay. So you just kind of move on and say, all right.
All right, now the toughest question, one
Okay.
that I'm not sure you have an answer for. How many days until Myrtle Beach?
Oh, I have it on my phone. I can look easily. It's probably down to about 155, roughly.
Oh, just about 155. That's a good number to just toss out there.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Oh, absolutely.
Favorite time of the year?
Favorite time of the year.
Second to only the first
Well,
weekend.
I was going to say maybe
December.
second. Yeah, maybe second. I do love football season.
We
so.
love it. Melissa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a
Thank
great
you very
week and
much.
obviously another one. Melissa Starkey, everybody.